Democratic strategist and veteran of numerous presidential campaigns, including those of Howard Dean, Ted Kennedy as well, Steve McMahon. Steve, thanks. Alex, thanks for being with me. Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton a nasty woman in the debate Wednesday. Texas Congressman Brian Babin, I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Brian Babin. This is what he said on Fox News Radio this morning, a very short time ago. Take a listen.
He called her a nasty woman.
Well,
was that appropriate?
You know what? She's saying some nasty things.
Do you think it's appropriate to call her a nasty woman?
Well, I'm a genteel Southerner, Alan.
So that means no?
No, I think sometimes a lady needs to be told when she's being nasty.
Oh, really?
Alex? What?
Look, Donald Trump should focus on the issues. When Donald Trump talks about the issues, when he talks about Hillary Clinton's record, when he talks about Barack Obama's record, and how Hillary Clinton wants to continue that, that is when he does the best. The first 20 or 30 minutes of the debate on Wednesday night were probably the best 20 or 30 minutes of the entire campaign for Donald Trump because he was focused on the issues. He was serious, he was sober, he was talking about where he wants to lead the country. That's what he needs to do to be competitive on Election Day. If he continues to take personal attacks, that's off message for him, and I think it's a distraction for not just his campaign, but for the party.
Hey, also, Alex, where's Mitch McConnell? This is something that came up this morning in our meeting. You know, we continue to talk about Paul Ryan, and everyone's trying to track down Paul Ryan to get him to respond to everything Donald Trump says. Why not the Senate Majority Leader who's actually, you know, holding up White House policy, namely the Supreme Court vacancy? Why haven't we heard from Mitch McConnell at all?
Well, Mitch McConnell's been clear. His focus is to keep the majority in the Senate, just like Speaker Ryan's focus is keeping the majorities in the House. And look, the Senate is going to be very competitive this year. This is going to come down to 4 or 5 races, including places like New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Florida. And so that's appropriately where Mitch McConnell's focus has been.
Steve, Kristen Walker there just showing us the polling coming out of Georgia, the polling coming out of Ohio, Utah apparently now in play as well. Charlie Cook of the Cook Political Report writing in the National Journal this morning that the GOP handed the car keys to Trump and he drove it off a cliff. If that's true, who's going to be responsible for picking up the pieces and how long is that going to take?
Well, I mean, it's going to be Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, ultimately, or at least initially, I should say. At some point, there'll be another Republican nominee, and we'll see who that is. But right after November 8th, you know, people are going to start looking at Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Reince Priebus, and they're going to say, okay, gentlemen, now what are we going to do? There's an internecine warfare going on inside the Republican Party. It's pretty clear now that Donald Trump is no longer trying to win the presidency. He's trying to figure out what his next gig is going to be and how he's going to continue to represent the aggrieved, angry mob that got him nominated, frankly. And there's been speculation that what he's going to do is form an alternative network, a conservative kind of shouting, screaming, angry, nationalistic network that is a cable network that competes with Fox News. We'll see. You got Roger Ailes wandering around out there in the Trump orbit. You've got Sean Hannity now starting to declare war on Paul Ryan and the Republican establishment. And I think this is going to take some time to play out in the Republican Party. And I believe it's going to be ugly and contentious and difficult.
Alex, let's talk about the Senate here. Kelly Ayotte has had a no good, very bad month thanks to Donald Trump. Take a listen.
Would you tell them to be like Donald Trump? Would you point to him as a role model?
I think that certainly there are many role models that we have, and I believe can serve as president, and so absolutely, I would do that.
So there's this new poll out. It's got the Democratic governor there with an 8-point lead over Senator Ayotte. It's the first poll that we've been able to find that has the governor leading and outside of the margin of error. Alex, how much of this is specific to Senator Ayotte? How much of this is the Trump effect?
Well, that poll is clearly an outlier, as you just said. Every other poll that's been taken in New Hampshire and shown it tied. In fact, there was a poll from Emerson that came out after the poll you just referenced that showed the race a dead heat. And it's going to come down to the wire in New Hampshire. There's no question about it. I think Kelly Ayotte is going to win because she's an outstanding young senator who's represented her state very, very well over the last 6 years. And Steve was just talking about the future of the Republican Party. I'm bullish on the future of the Republican Party because of leaders like Kelly Ayotte. She is the next generation. Her and senators like Tim Scott, Tom Cotton, my former boss, Marco Rubio. They represent the future of the party.
Well, you talk about the future, though, but I mean, doesn't that just assume that you guys can wrestle control away from the folks who hijacked it?
Well, I mean, they're the next, absolutely. And the next generation of leaders, including Speaker Paul Ryan, will be the leaders of the Republican Party after this election, assuming Donald Trump does not win. And I'm very bullish on the future, because if you look at all of the young 40-something-year-old leaders around the country, none of them are Democrats. It's all Republicans. The next generation of great American leaders are Republican. That's why I'm bullish on the future of our party, regardless of what happens in November.
All right, Alex, Steve, enjoy the weekend. Thanks to both of you.
Thanks very much.